Hi everyone, this is Matt Ortiz. I'm going to be going over my vocabulary lesson. All right, lesson title is Tall Tale Storm Along Vocabulary Lesson. It's designed for fourth grade. Okay, this is 45 to 55 minute lesson. All right, the PA course standard is 1.34. J, acquire and use accurately grade appropriate conversational, general academic, and domain specific words and phrases, including those that signal precise actions, emotions, or states of being and that are basic to a particular topic. All right, so the objectives would be students. Students will be able to do these things like build comprehension, definition of a word, usage of a word. Given a graphic organizer on the vocabulary word, they'll be able to do those things. During, students will be able to read a grade level text and assess um, the vocab, be able to comprehend it um, by using correct usage and using previous knowledge through an activity before um, with a Foursquare to come up with definitions, antonyms, synonyms, things like that. It's gonna give them that knowledge going into the reading. After, students will be able to work with partners and come up with their own story to show proper comprehension of the word, understanding of the word, the usage, and what it means and everything like that. So we'll be able to assess that after. All right, the materials that will be needed are copies of Journey Text Storm Along. All right, fourth grade um, Common Core Journey Text. Anchor chart of Foursquare that we'll do together. Then the worksheet is going to be vocabulary word Foursquare worksheet that they'll group, they'll get into groups and work through that together. Then we're obviously going to use pencil and blank paper to take notes. Pencil will be used throughout. Um, they also will access dictionary and thesaurus to come up with their definitions, usage of a word, antonyms, synonyms as well. All right, so before reading, all right, students will be prefaced on the connection between words, their meaning, and their usage, using a Foursquare graphic organizer for each word, each vocab word. Students will be able to develop a comprehensive definition that will include definition, usage of the word in a sentence, antonym, synonym, and a moment to connect to students' memory. All right, so a motion like a person can use their hand to make a wave motion to describe a wave or tidal wave, things like that that are going to help the students visualize in their group, and also whenever they give the presentation to the group to the rest of the room, the students listening will be able to visualize the words that their group did, take it in right before we actually get into the reading. They'll work in small groups on one vocab word to present to the class. All right. Teacher will give an example. All right. As a teacher, I will say, does anyone know what the word ship means? Turn to your neighbor and confer, discuss. And then after my fingers count down from 10 to 0, turn and raise your hand to give a definition. So they're constantly looking, they're talking, they're aware of time, giving a little bit of the wait time. All right. So things should be said like, I'm going to give students time to discuss things should be like, oh, it's like a boat, but it's bigger. Kind of like in the ocean would be a ship. It's real big. It'd have to have a lot of space, things like that. I would expect. Teacher, then I would say, who wants to get who wants to get us started with a definition or example? All right. So with that definition, they could also give an example like where a ship would be found. All right. Teacher takes several students' ideas and connects them to the word ship. All right. Make connections, use different parts of speech. Help students to think through synonyms and antonyms until they reach a full, rich definition of the word. All right. Next, the teacher will pass out Foursquare worksheets and go over instructions. All right. So as we're getting As we're listening to these in our presentation, as the teacher, I will be, the anchor chart will be dry erase. I will be able to, so I add in marker. I will be able to edit, as they're presenting, so we can go over like this ship example together on the anchor chart. Okay, and then as they're presenting, if I want to like make any references to each part, I can point to it or something like that. They have a big anchor chart up top that they can see where details go into each category. Okay, all right. So teacher goes over instructions. Teacher, I will now hand out the four square that will be used with the word in the middle. All right, everything's going to be based off that word in the middle. Take the word in the middle and find a definition from your. All right, and then I'll say, that kind of got dropped down. Your dictionary, all right, and then obviously we're going to repeat these steps with the source for the antonym and synonym. All right, teacher motions to the class to have them answer aloud the word. All right, in box 2, use the word in a sentence. Make it a fourth grade sentence with capitals and punctuation. All right, use box 3 to find antonyms or synonyms. You can put both in if you think you can get both. Sometimes it's a little tricky depending on the word. Box 4 is where you'll plan a motion to help you remember your word's definitions. Like I said, with tidal wave, we'd be like making a motion with our hand uh, that would go along with like a wave motion. All right. Help them remember their definition to the word. Make those connections visually. You and your group will work together to fill in your foursquare. When you're done, your group will present your word and ideas to the class. All right. Split students into small groups to work on their jigsaw vocabulary. Teacher will walk around the room to support students as needed. Oh my. The timer being set. Students will then present. All right. So getting over to the during the reading. All right. Teacher will preface it all by saying, we will talk more about how words are used to express all things in life and how we build that vocabulary and learn their meaning in the process. We will read a story and stop and talk as we go. When we come to a vocab word in our text, one that we went over with our four squares in our presentations, let me know by saying, "Arr, we found another word, Captain." So it's a fun, interactive way that they can be on the lookout for something, keep them engaged, and obviously they're looking for those vocab words. That's the one thing they're looking for. So it's keeping them on their toes and engaged. All right. Teacher will salute students to acknowledge their response. We will cover 5 of the words. For the other 5 words, we will just do that interactive piece where they're signaling that they saw the word. Teacher will salute students to acknowledge their response. All right. So in the actual text, stop at page 120 for the word title. Teacher, from what we see in the picture of the baby, is this a small wave or a large wave? Take students' answers and look for reasoning. Acceptable answers would be that it's a large wave because the baby is large, right? The baby's in a wheelbarrow being pushed by men. All right, it's a tall tale. All right, teacher, I'll go ahead and say great job when I get the right answer or elaborate if they need a little assistance. Um, Stop at page 124 for vocab word foaming. Teacher, in this case, the waves are being tossed around and bubbling up. But what else could be foaming? Turn to your partner and come up with 2 ideas. Give wait time while students discuss. Count back from 3, 2, 1. Take 4 student responses. Acceptable answers could be related to splashing water and seeing bubbles, like with soap while washing dishes, etc. We'll see an image of the very large, full-grown Stormy, the character, main character, he's wrestling with an octopus under the sea, so we can imagine a lot of splashing and foaming of water. Okay. All right. Then stop at page 127 for the vocab word yearning. How could he ever? All right. Then the quote is from the text. How could he ever test his true strength and courage? All right. So he's looking towards something. He's yearning. Okay. All right. So what I would say is, what is that what is it that he's yearning for? Pick out the words in the text that support your ideas. Expected answers would be related to how the paragraph and the text surrounding the vocab word includes how he was missing the sea, how he worked on land for a while, how he wasn't really challenged, he didn't really have his purpose. The sea tested his strength, courage, and gave him purpose. The waves and hurricanes challenged him. Right, so I'll get answers kind of like that. That he's yearning for some bigger purpose in life. Right, he needs to go back to the sea. All right, so then I would respond, excellent. Great connections. I'll elaborate if I need to. All right, stop at page 128 for the vocab word condition. Teacher, I'll go ahead and say, what is Storm's condition like? How did it get that way? How did he get that way? Take student responses. Then I'll say, make yourself look the way Stormy is being described here. Students should make a face as if sad, disheveled, or discouraged, without purpose. That's it, I'll say. Then I myself, the teacher, will model a mopey face as well. Let's see it, and then I'll say, let's cheer ourselves up. Let's see if Stormy can find his purpose and be cheered up. I think there's more to read. Let's see. All right. Then finally, stop at page 132 for the vocab word seafaring. Like I said, for all 10 vocab words, we're going to stop and do that. All right, Captain, we found another vocab word. I'll salute the kids to acknowledge that they're paying attention. Stopping at these 5. This is the final of the 5 that we're stopping for an extended period of time at. Seafaring, all right? As teacher, I'll say, in this sentence, what is seafaring describing? What the old New England seafaring men knew different, right? They know different. Take student responses as to what seafaring is and how it's describing the men. They're sailors, they're faring, they're on the sea, kind of combined. Think back to our definition in our Foursquare. All right, teacher, I'll then say, if it's describing the men, does that make it a verb, noun, or adjective? Let's get a little bit more of a extensive back and forth discussion on that. What other words could be put in the place of seafaring? Right, we're seeing how things can be swapped in and out, and how it's describing, leading towards adjective, right? All right, after the reading, all right, so we're wrapping it around the purpose. All right, students will form partner pairs and use all 10 words in their own story. All right, they may work together, all right, and come up with their stories they'll then come and present. They may also have a variation. Advanced students, I'll get to that at the bottom, what they can do if they're done early. They may choose any genre they would like, but it must relate to a body of water. Each vocabulary word needs to be highlighted and used correctly in a sentence where the meaning of the word is understood. All right. So assessment, use formative assessment throughout the reading activity and before reading activity to check along the way for student understanding. Grade the student on closure writing activity. Check for correct usage and meaning of the vocabulary words. So we're looking at all 10. 10 out of 10 is exemplary, 7 out of 10 proficient, below 7 will need the support of further study, and then we'll look at the adaptations. ESL, ELL, special needs students will have an altered version of Foursquare and worksheet version, fill in the blank worksheet, less vocabulary words, more connections to illustration and vocabulary words. They're at a lower level. Coverage of a vocabulary reader, The Golden Age of Sales, will be utilized. It's a separate little reader book. Advanced or gifted students can do a poem or a song, further discuss the vocabulary words, all right, and then be a peer mentor at the end. Here's the citations. Here's an example of the anchor chart, Foursquare worksheet. And then here's an example of their writing with a word bank.